Coach is so excited to kick off this new series called Let Them Throw. We are going to give you all the ammunition you need whenever you hear a coach, youth or middle school say they can't do it. All you have to do is just send them this playlist, and there's going to be coaches all over the country with film, with evidence, with everything you need to dispel that myth right away. We're going to kick this series off with Fecil Blango from North Carolina. Settle in because we're going to have some fun watching his team go off. So go ahead, let them throw. Thanks for joining today for another episode of Middle School Air Raid. But I guess today we're going to call this episode Let Them Throw. I have Fecil Blango here. How you doing?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Good. Can't complain. It's midweek, and I haven't gotten yelled at too much this week at the office, so all good. How's your week been going, man?
Oh, it's been good, man. Pretty much the same. Just staying busy as always.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, to the audience out there, I asked Fecil to come in and kick off this new series I'm doing because now that we've got, the basis of the air raid in. I think most of you guys have watched the webinar series I created on airraidwarden.com. If you haven't, go back and check it out. And we've brought some continued education, getting more advanced on those things. Now I want to just go ahead and just shove it down youth football's throat that these kids can throw. And really, this is really the whole purpose of me creating this channel in the first place, was to make sure that you coaches, and for myself as well, because I needed this ammunition, if a coach ever says that to you, you could click on this playlist and show all these coaches, starting with Coach Fecil. You don't even need to say anything. Just say, go watch this playlist, and there's going to be coaches just like Coach Fecil throwing the ball around with evidence, with film, so they can't say that's not true, or they can't say they can't do it. And so, Coach, I'm glad that you're going to be the one kicking this series off for me, because I've seen the highlights already. I'm excited to get into that. But before we get into all that, let's just level set. If you don't mind, just give a quick introduction about who you are, where you are, and what you're up to.
Yeah, so appreciate Coach having me on, man. I think what you're doing has been awesome and great, and just really trying to help, just continue to grow the game, especially at the middle school level. So I don't think we have enough people doing this. So, like Coach said, I think it's important that, we try to show this as much as possible, just so, going down the road, people can see it and implement whatever they want. So I'm all for just sharing ideas. So just getting into it real quick. I'm Coach Fecil Blango. I'm out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Been coaching for about 12 years now. So I'm at Piedmont Middle School, which is in Charlotte, North Carolina, as I mentioned. And, pretty much right now we're just, going year after year, just looking to just build on the air raid that we started a few years ago. So when I took over the program, one of the things that I've gotten from the athletic director was that, numbers were down. There's always athletes in the school, and they're trying to figure out creative ways just to kind of get the kids back into football, because traditionally, just for the past 15, 20 years, they've been a really good program. They kind of fell off there for a while. And then, coming back around now at this point, I really just took an opportunity for us to, really think about, how can we get these kids back in? And I think throwing the ball is one of those things that they already love to do. So we just wanted to implement some things that they know. So, and then on top of that, I went to East Carolina. Lincoln Riley was there when I was in school. So he threw the ball quite a bit. So I fell in love with, doing that. He was the offensive coordinator at East Carolina at the time. So, from there, man, we just kind of just fell in love with just throwing the ball. And, I was coaching in high school for a little bit, and it was just fun, man, just kind of seeing, just some of the things that we were starting to implement. So I knew once I finally got into an opportunity and a position to, be a head coach, I wanted to prove and show that the younger kids could do it, not just the older ones in high school and college and on.
Yeah, and that's great that you had that foresight, because, as Coach Salas has said, and I believe it, the lower that we can start proving and showing and teaching these kids to throw the ball and run a true spread offense. And I've actually found it even to go lower than I thought coming into this journey that I'm on, and all you coaches are on with me. That it's definitely needed, and it's going to help the sport in the long term. So I didn't realize you went to East Carolina. That's really cool, man. They had a really cool little heyday there where they were winning a lot of games, scoring a lot of points, and there's no mystery on why, right?
No doubt.
Staff that was in place.
Oh, for sure, man. And I know Lincoln, man, he wasn't going to be there long. So, but when he was there, it was fun to watch. So now it's a little harder to watch, but they're starting to turn the corner a little bit, man. So I hope they'll continue to just keep pushing along. Yeah,
it goes in waves, man. Same with Nevada. I went to UNR, and there's some good years that get mixed in with some bad years, but they've gone air raid now too. So I'm excited, man.
Cool, man.
Awesome. So cool. So let's take it back real quick. So you're at a middle school.
Yes, sir.
And so just so to frame it up, because it's done differently in every pocket of the country, you guys have the football team that's running through the actual middle school itself.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
So we run through the middle school. We actually have another middle school that's a little smaller that feeds into us too as well. So we'll get some of those kids, but most of the time at least the last couple of years, we haven't gotten a ton of those kids. It's usually like 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. But, the biggest challenge, at least in my area in the school district, is that we don't have opportunities for spring and summer ball. Yeah. So we get the kids first day of school, do tryouts and things of that sort. And then from there, we'll have games in 2.5 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks. Oh, so, wow. We really had to figure out a challenge to push ourselves to figure out, what can we install? What do we don't need? And, just try to keep it as simple as possible. So I think simplicity is huge, especially at this level. If they know it, they'll run it. If you get too complicated, which I've seen, other coaches do in the past, that's a recipe for failure. So you want to keep it as simple as possible, especially starting out, and then just kind of build on it as you go.
Yeah, no, that's a huge point, right? Like the start, just get reasonable and execute as you build on it. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. And then so middle school for you guys is 6, 7, 8 or 7, 8?
That's right. So it's 6th, 7th, 8th grade, but 7th and 8th graders only are eligible to play. So they don't allow for 6th graders to play football.
Okay, got it. And then your 7th and 8th graders are on the same exact team, or there's a separate 6th and 7th or 8th and 7th grade?
That's right. So it's only one team for the 7th and 8th graders. We don't have a 7th grade team, and an 8th grade team, as some of our neighboring counties do. But everybody's on one team. So, we got a pretty big team. Usually carry around 35 to 40 kids most of the time. So, which poses its challenges too, but it's fun trying to, pick the kids and making sure we get the right ones for the job.
You guys have minimum. So I did the 8th grade team last year, and we'd have like 30, 40 man roster. Yep. And we had minimum plays. Did you guys have minimum plays in your league where everyone has to play X amount?
Yep. Everybody's got to play. So everybody's got to play at least one play on either offense or defense. They can't do it on special teams. So, we've had some challenges, like especially that first year when I learned that, we getting late into the games and we got about 5 or 6 kids that need to play. Yeah. We're trying to figure out where can we hide them at, man. So it's been challenging, but we starting to figure out different funny ways to get them included. So
I know everyone has this, and everyone in our organization has their own way. I've been a firm believer, and I did the 8-year-olds and under, and now I've done the 14-year-olds and under. Yeah. And my philosophy is just put those dudes in the second quarter, strap it on, hang on for dear life.
That's right.
We have actually, depending on how many kids are on the active roster that day, the number fluctuates between 6 and 12, kind of depending on. So sometimes you got it's a whole quarter or more that you're just like, oh my God. Because I just want my guys in at the end, right? But
that's right. So you definitely got to coach them up, man. That's kind of we're like that for Pop Warner. So I guess I'm a little thankful that middle school is not like that. We actually had one team. They would put all their kids in on the first play, and then just hold on for dear life, get them out the way, be done, and then just go on about the game. So that was interesting.
Those parents don't love that, but
no, they don't.
Anyway, all right, cool. And so you are working with, and you have been working with, like 12, 13, 14-year-olds, essentially, is what we're going to see on this film. Okay.
Absolutely. 7th, 8th graders.
Cool. And then I just, I thought about this when we were talking beforehand, and I don't know why I hadn't thought about this before, but youth football is different than high school, because most high school football coaches, especially the ones that are doing it for a vocation, they literally are teachers. They work
Yep.
at the school itself. That's not obviously not the case for the most part with youth. What do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, don't mind. So I'm an IT project manager. I work for the local utilities company here. So basically, we just boring IT work. It's not curing cancer or anything like that, but it pays the bills. So
Absolutely.
this is the stuff that we love to do, man. Like I got a lot of friends. Everybody I coach with, none of them work at the school. We
Yeah.
just do it for the love of the game, and I know how important it is or I know how important football has been to me, and I just felt like it was just my duty to try to give back as much as possible, and just coach the kids and just watching them grow, man. So that's been the biggest reward for us, is just seeing these kids, grow as players and just, human beings. And then when they get into high school, the biggest reward for me is when they come back and say, hey, coach, we were running this, we were running that, and now we're doing it in high school. It's so much easier.
Yep.
And, some of their kids from, other schools, they're really behind because they didn't do a lot of this stuff in middle school. So that's the biggest thing, is just helping develop those kids, just getting them ready for the next level.
Man, that's so awesome. And yeah, I mean, it is. And that's why I've been saying this whole time, youth coaches, middle school coaches are a different breed, man. Most of us are 100% volunteers. I only know if literally I can count on one hand how many people have gotten any money out of this. So thank you for doing that. And again, like you said earlier, you're a coach at the high school level. I'm sure you could have stayed if you wanted, but you made a point of coming down because, these kids need instruction. I mean, and a lot of dads, they're doing their best, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I want to encourage all you dads out there to continue doing your best and continue to get educated like we're all doing together now. But there's not that many people that will just do it for the love of the game. And that brings me to another question, I guess, is did you get back into middle school or the younger levels because you had kids coming up and you wanted to kind of get ahead of the game and get it prepped for them? Or were you just literally like, shoot, I'm going to go coach middle school and kick some butt?
Well, when I moved to Charlotte, I actually started coaching Pop Warner again. I coached high school back in where I grew up at. Then I moved to Charlotte. Once I was in Charlotte, then I started coaching Pop Warner. Then I had a friend of mine, he presented me an opportunity. He said, hey, there's a school out here. They're looking for a coach. I know you coached in the past, and, I think you'd be a perfect fit for them. Sat down with the AD, and pretty much, history kind of, got kicked off from there. So I actually just kind of fell into this position. It just worked out perfectly. It's, a few minutes from my house and where I
Beautiful.
work. So it's hard to leave, man. It's hard to leave.
Good.
Great kids. So it's great.
Well, keep building this, man. I mean, I want to get the T-Birds where I'm at to a point like yours, where it's a factory year after year. And, we just introduced Air Raid last year. Now I have all 4 coaches in 4 levels agreed to do it, even the lower guys to some extent, so we can build year over year and they can learn more, advanced situations, as they progress. But man, what you've been building, and I can't wait to show everybody in a minute, is pretty cool, and it's unique to youth football and middle school football. So congrats on that, man. Okay, youth football. Did you play youth football yourself?
Yeah, I played youth football. I played high school football. Played walked on in college for a minute, and then just kind of put it away at that point. So still love the game, but I just was not athletically inclined enough to continue to keep it going. So I think youth football for me was really important because those are the times and the memories that I remember the most, and outside of high school, obviously. But it was just fun, just having sleepovers with the kids and just building friends. And I even have friends from youth football that I still keep in touch with now. Yep. So it's like you said, Coach, it's just important, man, especially at that age and generation. You want to make sure you keep keep everything fun for them. And on top of that, just making sure that it's a good environment for both them and the fathers, just to keep everybody coming in and keep winning those living rooms. Because, with everything with concussions and things of that sort, I know I've had a lot of conversations with parents and just kind of, helping them understand, like, hey, we're not that ground and pound type team. We don't do the head banging and all that other stuff every single play. So, we just have a different brand of football, and it's our way, and it's been working. So we want to continue to do it.
Yeah, 100%, man. All those points are huge. Those are all things that a lot of us passing coaches, resonates with us, because it is like it's a I don't know. I don't want to just say 100% it's a better way, because I do respect wing T coaches. I respect,
No doubt.
all that stuff, man. But where the game is going at the higher levels, if we are here to prepare them for the next level, if we're here to ensure they're having fun, if we're here to ensure that more kids are touching the ball, like,
Oh yeah,
this, you almost have to do this. But
you have to. You have to.
but we'll leave
Don't
that
get me
for
started
another
on
day.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. And so, yeah, so good. So let's get into kind of the a high level overview of what your system's all about. All right, cool. So, yeah, Coach, I'd love to kind of just start with philosophy. Like, day one, you get these kids in, or however you guys get introduced to these kids for the first time. Or do you have a philosophy that you tell them, or tell your coaches maybe? I mean, just what is your offensive philosophy in general, I guess?
Oh, no question. So one thing, just giving everybody a heads up, I do have a YouTube channel for
Yeah.
schemes, tips, and drills that I just spinned up. So want everybody to just jump on there, subscribe. It's going to be a lot of stuff that, Coach Lasker already have on, his site. And, I think that, I just want to help continue to grow the game, especially at this level. So wanted to just do that real quick.
Yeah, and I will put your YouTube channel subscribe in the description below for everyone. Just simply go down while you're watching this right now. Go down, click on his link, and it will bring up his subscribe button. Just hit that real quick. Okay.
So yeah, hey, no worries. Appreciate that, Coach. All right, so just talking about just the offensive philosophy for us. So we have a mantra, and this is something that we go over with all of our kids once everybody makes the team. And pretty much these are just some of the items that we want to make sure that we continue to just hammer home every single day. So we are just kind of talking about just us being an air raid team. Everybody knows what air raid's all about, but we really live and breathe by just throwing that ball vertically and horizontally, and just making the defense, just guard the entire length of the field and width of the field too as well. Yep. So, another thing too is tempo. Tempo is something that, is something we live and breathe by as well. And I think that it's a huge component to making us very successful at what we do, just due to the fact that a lot of defenses and teams don't even practice this, and this is something that we continue to push every single day, even in practice, in game planning, things of that sort. We do everything, tempo. So we'll make the games easy as possible. And you'd be surprised, Coach. Like it's just fun watching some of the teams tap out. They don't know what to do. They're calling timeouts, and that's when our kids really start believing in what it is. And it's just so funny, man. Just even looking at our offensive linemen. They're like, Coach, let's keep running. We got to keep tempo, keep it up. Mm-hmm. And that's just a huge proponent of what has made us successful. So we continue to do that. We play fast. And tempo doesn't necessarily have to be just playing fast. We try to change it up throughout the game. So it just depends on, down the distances. It depends on situational times in the game. We'll get to the line quick. We'll no huddle. But there are times that we want to snap the ball every 8 seconds, and there's times that we want to just hold and try to kill a little bit of the clock. So we'll have a check with me, we'll do a freeze or something to that extent, just to help with that. So, and we'll get more into the tempo piece here in a second. And then just a couple of things about talking about what we will do. This is just a mantra for any air raid team. We throw high percentage passes to people who score. I think that's important too. We had last 3 quarterbacks, we've had some really good kids, and it's not that they had rocket arms. They just made really good decisions, and we practice this every single day. So, I felt like, throwing those high percentage passes, just even throwing the screens, that could be an extension of our run, throwing quick slants, just anything that's just instinctual to our quarterback, and, making it easy for the kids to catch the ball, getting upfield and getting positive yards is always something we want to push. And then next, talking about just confusing the defense by running very few plays with multiple formations. So, I've heard a lot of people who have, a litany of, plays. We're not quite like that. I like to install concepts, and then once I install the concepts, I can put that on any formation that I want. So, so that's one of the things we want to do, just to keep it simple, because as I mentioned before, we get kids first day of school. We don't get the opportunity to have spring ball. We don't have summer ball, things of that sort. So, we got to make sure that it's really easy for the kids to pick up, but then they can still play at a high level. And then also, you know, the passing game. The passing game is huge for us. So we want to be able to set up the runs that way. So, you know, I know a lot of people say we set up the pass with the run, but we do it the other way around. We do a lot of passing to, you know, empty the box. But then you'll be surprised, Coach. I'll have a couple video clips where we'll have, you know, 3-4 guys in the box that we'll be able to run. And most of our running backs for the last 2 years have averaged more than 8 yards a carry just due to the fact that we pass so much. When they did get carries, they got big gains.
Woo, love it.
Yeah.
Love a nice yards per carry average, man. That's I always look at first.
Oh, it looks good, man. It looks great. So, and then on top of that, just having great discipline. I think just doing that across the board in football obviously is huge, but the mental mistakes is the one that we really preach hard on. You know, I'm okay with, you know, the kids making mistakes during the play. You know, you're playing hard, you're playing aggressive, you get a holding penalty, fine. We're not going to make a big deal out of that. But the things we can't control is the things that happen before the whistle and after the whistle. So those are the things that we really try to preach hard on, is getting lined up correctly, making sure you get your splits right, you know, knowing where you're supposed to be, and not having those mental mistakes throughout the game. That has always boded well for us. And then lastly, talking about just winning the fourth quarter. You know, if you win the fourth quarter, you're going to put yourself in pretty good position to win the game. And not only that, to finish the game. Finishing has been our biggest thing. And we struggled with that the first year, which kept games closer than they probably should have been. But, you know, we really preached hard about, hey, we got to win this fourth quarter. I don't care who's in the game, but, you know, at the end of the day, let's just make sure that, you know, we want to be able to put ourselves in the best position to finish the game and really put our mark on that particular day.
Absolutely. No, I love it. And yeah, I mean, clearly so many great pieces of air raid philosophy here, guys. You know, love the high percentage throw passes to people who can score. I mean, that is it in a nutshell, right? And I love it. And, you know, not too many people put the discipline piece anymore. And I think that's huge. And obviously I think that's kind of at the root of why we do this in the first place, right? It's, yes, we want to play football and teach these kids how to be great at it. But the discipline, mental mistakes, that is a lifetime skill that we will teach every single day. I love that. Thanks for including that, man. All right, cool. And so, you know, to kind of dig in a little bit more, you start with the formations. How many formations do you have?
Yeah, so we have quite a few formations. We probably have about 8 to 10, but they're just little variations. So, you know, and I actually do have a couple of slides in here where I'll just show some of the formations. Yes, sir. So this is just showing a couple of the formations that we run. So this is just our doubles, or what we call 20. Yep. And then this is just a concept that we'll run out of 22. This is the shallow that we talked about, Coach. And the only difference that I do here, I like running this Y, almost like a Y cross, instead of getting them up here and then trying to dig and get across behind these linebackers. What I have found is that, you know, if they run that Y inside that outside linebacker and over top of the mic, generally this linebacker opens his hips towards that Y, and he follows that Y for just a couple of steps. And if we get him going into the opposite direction as we're running the shallow the other way, it has become very, very prevalent, and they're open quite a bit. So, you know, that's just something that we like to do.
Interesting. Yeah. That's every other place I've ever seen is trying to get that outside linebacker to turn the opposite direction. But that makes sense. I mean, you're literally on an outside release on that outside linebacker over the Y. You're kind of keeping him in that grass area to some extent instead of clearing him out. I like that. Interesting.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So, and I, especially at this level, the kids, whatever they see, they're going to follow.
So,
yeah, they love to chase, man. They love to chase. So, so this is another formation that we run. We run empty out of this. So, what I like to do, I like to split my outside receiver and put them into the slot. So we'll start getting the linebacker matchups with our wide receivers. So we'll run slot fade out of that. We've scored quite a bit out of this particular play. And then just talking about the stack formation, this is another one we run quite a bit. You know, and the biggest thing is for the stack formation is that we have we have tried to split in the stack and split out the stack. What we have found is splitting out the stack usually takes out 2 defenders, and then we'll be able to run a little easier. So it just depends what we're trying to do. But and then we got our 3x1. We like to run stick out of this. And then we've also run Y cross out of this too as well. Those are the bread and butter for these particular plays. We'll run a little bit of sail, but for the most part, it's either stick or Y cross. And then this is just our blue formation. We'll go 2 back sometimes. We still throw out of this. We got a flex play, which we'll run. As you can see here, we'll just run the F, have them run inside zone, and then we'll have the tailback just do a motion and fly out here and just see if we can get the linebackers to be influenced. Either if they stay in, we'll throw it out. If they go out, then we'll just hand the ball off, or we still can throw the little stack bubble out here. So we'll just see how they line up. But I love plays like this because there's literally 3 plays in one. You can run inside zone. You could throw, throw that route out to the tailback, or you can also just throw a little bubble to the Y. And these are all simple throws. These are 10-yard throws, 10 5-yard throws, and we're making it easy for the quarterback, and then we're just letting our athletes be athletes. Okay, and then pistol, we still do a little bit of running too as well. So we'll just put our F behind the line. Sometimes we motion them across, kind of like an H back. We'll run a little bit of power. We'll try to just zone it up if we can. And then what we like to do, we like to throw out of this, but what we'll do, we'll fake some kind of run action to the tailback, and the F gets lost, and either he'll run a little flat, he'll run a little F wheel. There's so many things that we can run off of that. Quad, just another one. We love to run quad. Just this is basically like a running play to me. We just throw it out to the tailback. We got 4 blockers out there, and it really forces the defense to declare what they're going to do. Either they're going to bring out and flank out enough defenders to get our matchup right, or if we have the numbers advantage, we throw it out to the tailback. Most of the time, if they'll start overplaying this because they got a few good chunk yards out of that, then we'll have our L receiver who'll run a little slant right there, open grass, easy pitch and catch. Again, 7-yard throw, catch, make somebody miss. It turns into 10 to 15 yards really easily.
Yeah, I think this is the one thing that you and David Hunter have convinced me to add to the playbook this year. I mean, it's just low cost, high value. I mean, it's almost too easy not to put in, and I think at every level too, just have a unified. And what's so funny is it drives me nuts. Our entire freaking league does this. They call it the wedge, right? But they put them right behind tackle and guard, and they just run that stinking wildcat wedge. And so I
just push the line, huh?
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you guys come. It's 2020, but this is kind of a FU from me to them. Like, this is a flying wedge. How about we do it in the air and like modernize a little bit? Thing you guys are doing, except out or throwing the ball because it's 2020.
Exactly. There you go, Coach. I love it, man. And then just again, the numbers advantage. We're always gonna have the numbers unless they overplay it. Then we'll have the backside look. I've seen people even not have any linebackers in the box, and I'll have quarterbacks or not even running quarterbacks. They'll get 10, 15 yards before anyone even get close to even touching them. So I love this play. And we don't run this enough either.
Yeah, it's I'm excited about watching this play because people are going to be pissed about it. I can't wait.
No doubt. Let me know how they go, man. I'll be really interested to see how other people are playing it. But yeah. So and then empty bunch. We just we like to do a couple things after this. We'll run sail. We'll run jet sweep. Most of the time it's jet sweep though. And then this is our pirate formation. I went over this with Joe. Cool. Just talking about just making things uneven, doing something exotic. The kids love it, something different, and typically they're going to be misaligned, and it causes a timeout for the most part. And then we'll come back to it at the different part of the game. But it's always fun to run stuff like that. But yeah, so these are just the core concepts that we run now. So our quick game, we love Y stick. Our quarterbacks last 2 years have been really good at using that. We'll throw fade out. Our screen game is bubble screen and quicks. That's all we do. Try to keep that as simple as possible. And for me, I always think that is an extension of our run. It should be as easy as just handing the ball off. So that's one thing that we rep every single day is just getting that ball outside. And then, we'll have, tackle drills where we'll throw the ball outside. Wide receiver got to get up and try to get as many yards as possible, as quickly as possible. Don't dance, just go.
Yeah.
And then passing game, this is where we live. Y corner, Y cross. We'll run sail, verts, and shallow, which has been a really big play for us this year. That gave us a lot of yards, especially throwing that shallow route, throwing a 5-yard play and it turned into, 30 to 35 yards. That gives a lot of confidence to your quarterback. So, those are the things that we want to continue to just kind of keep preaching, is that you don't have to throw 70 yards, or you don't have to throw a 15, 20, 25, 30-yard pass every single time. You just want to make sure that, you're just giving it to your playmakers and let them do what they do.
Yes, sir.
Player personnel. So this is just kind of talks about the players that we have. We have our outside receivers, which is our L and R. So we just, traditionally, for a lot of air raid teams, that's the X and the Z. So we'll just keep our L on the left side, R on the right side at all times. So we're not flipping and flopping and doing all that stuff, just to kind of keep it more simplistic for the kids. Our Y is always playing on the ball. That's generally a bigger receiver. He catches balls in traffic. It's usually one of our best receivers, especially in our offense. This year, actually, he wasn't really that big. Our Y actually was like 5'3", but just strong, gritty kid, catches everything. Yeah. Just a bulldog. He'll take hits. He's just a great kid, man. I love that kid. Awesome. And then, our F is typically, someone, a speedier guy. He can, both play running back and also a little bit of that slot receiver. He'll take a lot of our jet sweeps, and our tailback is our tailback. So, and this just talks about just some quarterback play over the years. This is just, as you can see here, we've had high completion percentages. For the most part, we didn't throw a lot of interceptions. We've had a lot of good quarterbacks who make good decisions, and that's, I think, is the biggest thing. So, my quarterback for 2019, he always wants me to put an asterisk because he had 1,581 yards, but he did that in 5 games.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah, so he was a really aggressive kid, smart, loved the game, and really just making sure that I have a quarterback that has a good temperament. Like I said, doesn't have to have a rocket arm, but at the end of the day, as long as they can make good decisions and facilitate the ball, then we're going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and I agree. That's a great point for everyone out there. You don't have to run this offense. To you coaches that are coming in to learn a little bit more, you don't need a kid with just a cannon. It's more about IQ and decision making. And if you can throw 20 yards like most 7th and 8th graders can, and you like the game enough to kind of go a little deeper, that's all you need.
That's it. I want to make sure that coaches understand, do what that works for you. Like, you don't necessarily, just because it's an air raid concept, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to run it exactly how everyone tells you how you should. I think that you should be able to, use that as a basis. Yep. And then go from there. Just make sure that it works for the quarterback and works for your receivers, and everything kind of take care of itself. And, air raid is more of a mentality versus just a playbook. So that's the other thing people need to understand.
Yeah, let's get some cool highlights on here for everyone to see and get excited about.
That's what we love, Coach. This is, this has been fun, man. Like, I think that, again, like I was saying, I think that as long as coaches see other people doing it, I think they'll be more prone to do it. I think we just got to get out of the mindset of, this is how it's always been done. So, I want for us to be able to see these things, how they're being executed. And these kids are, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, and they can execute it just as well as, any kids in high school. So, it's just about how you teach it and making sure that it's relatable and they'll understand how to do it. I think that the one thing I love about my coaches is that we take ownership in that. If a kid doesn't understand it, it's not his fault. It is our fault, and it's our responsibility to explain it in a way that, they'll be able to see it. So, even like our risk coach, we've gone more to like a visual approach, and, the kids understood how that worked because everybody's not, remember the play and I go here and this is how it works. Give them aids that is going to make it, more easy for them to understand it, and good things are going to come.
Guys, just a reminder, Fecil and I are going to sit down at least a few more times and dive much deeper into his plays and how he actually runs plays and progressions and those type of things. He's showing you proof it can be done at the middle school level. He's giving you proof, not just like one group of kids that was awesome did it for him this last year. He's done this for, a handful of years at this middle school with different kids cycling in, with different talent levels, with different quarterbacks. The experiment is over, fellas. There's no reason why you can't get in and educate yourself between Fecil, myself, and all of our middle school air raid group. There is more than enough practice plans, more than enough install plans, more than enough playbooks to go around, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed his highlights. And like I said, stay tuned because we're coming back with a deeper dive into how he does this and how it's been so successful. Fecil, thanks for joining us today, man. Anything else you want to say on the way out?
Yeah, no, Coach, I appreciate the time, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And, I love the fact that, we got guys like you that's promoting the game and doing it for the love of the game. And I want to keep doing that. So, looking forward for us getting back and kind of showing you some more stuff in depth.
Yeah, and I'm so appreciative of you jumping in and joining this journey with all of us. And I think it's kind of like a youth football coach thing. So let's all just keep it together, keep letting these kids spread the ball around, get these participation numbers back up.
That's right.
And most of all, let them throw. Thanks, Fecil. Right. We'll talk soon, buddy.
All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, dude.
Thank you.